Hey everyone, today we're going to explain to you how to make rice, specifically baked rice, and I thought we'd open up by talking about how BG found out that I really don't know how to make rice at all. We were 22 years old and we just started dating and he'd been making me all these really, really delicious meals, and one day I said, I really love your rice. It's so much better than the rice that I make, and it looks like it's pretty easy to make. You remember this?
Oh no, was that the one where you were talking about?
Yeah, so you said, okay, well, tell me what you were doing. And I said, well, I put the rice in the pot. And then you said, okay, then what do you do? And I said, well, I cover it with water. And you're like, okay, good. Well, how much water are you using? I said,
You're like, whatever.
I think I said something like, well, enough to cover the rice. And you were like, oh, okay, then what do you do? And I said, you bring it to a boil. And you were like, okay, that's good. And I said, well, then you then you get your colander out. Do you remember that?
Yeah, and I remember, how did you strain rice through a colander?
Rice
is just flying out of the colander holes.
That's what you were like, what the fuck are you using a colander for? I was like, well, that's how you strain the water. And you were like...
If it was a noodle.
I guess I thought rice was a noodle. I don't know. I thought it was pasta. It's pasta, right?
No.
Apparently, I still don't know. So anyway, wait, how in the world does that even work? Doesn't the rice come out through the holes? It's like, yeah, that's like the hardest part. It's like keeping the rice from going through the holes. And he was just like aghast, like, what is wrong with you? And so he tried to show me how to make it. I was just grateful that he could make rice, although I think he knew that rice was just like a conveyor for the cream of mushroom soup. Because that's how my mom always made rice, was adding cream of mushroom soup to it. So I was just eating some soy sauce.
What was it? So you added soy sauce to it? Why would you add soy sauce on top of... Did you even thin out the cream of mushroom soup?
No.
Oh my Lord.
It was really bad for me. Yeah. So we have
What was your
moved
blood pressure at that point? I just can't believe you added soy sauce on top of...
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
Oh, man.
I can't even... I almost want to try it just to see how salty it is.
It was magical. It was really good. So today we are not going to teach you how to do that. We're going to teach you how to make a much healthier version of rice that you really can't screw up.
No.
No screwing up, and no colander.
It's a peel-off method.
All right, enough joking around. Time to get down to it. So you'll need a few things to make wild rice in the oven. First, you'll need a 3-quart saucepan and spoon. Then you'll need a 16-ounce package of wild rice. Now, the method that we're going to show you today is specifically for wild rice because it takes a longer time to cook. You wouldn't want to use this method for white rice. And you'll need 24 ounces of chicken stock. And because I love baked rice so much, I'm the one who gets to tell you about how to make it today. Before you do anything else, set your oven to 350 degrees and turn the burner on your stove to high. Now, as we've shown you before, we make and freeze our own chicken stock, so that's what we're using here. Right now, BG is running the container under hot water to release it from the sides. You can also use store-bought stock if you want. Now, this frozen block of chicken stock is about 1.5 cups of concentrated stock. So we're going to add another 1.5 cups of water to the pot to bring the saltiness back to normal. If you're keeping track, this makes 3 cups of chicken stock. Ultimately, you want to use 3 cups of liquid stock per 1 pound of rice. And if you're wondering why we make concentrated chicken stock, it's because it helps us conserve our freezer space. We strongly suggest using stock here instead of water because the stock will permeate the whole pot of rice, which is something that just adding some salt at the end can't do nearly as well. When the pot comes to a boil, add your 1 pound package of wild rice. Next, stir the rice. Nothing fancy, just give it a quick stir. Then put the lid on. When steam starts venting out of the lid, take it off the burner and put it immediately in the oven. A few tips here. Don't take the lid off. You want steam pressure built up in the pot before you put it in the oven. Also, do not walk away after you've put the lid on. This pot will start to steam pretty quickly, and if you're not around when it happens, you'll have an unintended volcano happening in your kitchen. We know, we've been there. Make sure to set a timer for 1 hour. You're going to let the rice bake in the oven for a whole hour. When the timer goes off, take it out of the oven. Wear pot holders to do this, obviously. I mean, duh, right? But here's a tip. Leave the pot holder on top of the lid to remind yourself that, hey, that pot is freaking hot. BG actually got a 3rd-degree burn by picking up a hot lid after he got busy in the kitchen and completely forgot that that pot had just come out of the oven. So once you take the lid off, take a spoon and fluff the rice. Pull up rice from the bottom and put it on top. For some Americana, you can add butter or herbs at this point. If you want some Middle Eastern influence, you could add pine nuts or currants. But that's it. That's how you make wild rice in the oven. Hey, look at you. You've learned that rice isn't pasta and you don't need a colander to cook it. Thanks for watching today, and if you enjoyed this video, share it. The more subscribers we have, the closer we are to quitting our day jobs and going full-time on video production. We can dream, can't we? See you next time on Our Final Freezer.